In just a few years, Geno Smith went from one of the biggest draft busts to one of the most inspiring comeback stories in the NFL. From getting punched in the face by a teammate to spending years as a forgotten backup, his road back to the top wasn't just tough. It was almost impossible. So how did he do it? To figure that out, we gotta go back to the beginning. As a high school freshman, Geno quickly became his school's varsity starting quarterback. But his breakout year didn't come till his senior season, when he led his team to a state championship and rose up to the third-ranked QB in the class of 2008. His stellar performance caught the eyes of college scouts, leading to multiple scholarship offers from some of the nation's biggest football programs, such as Miami, Tennessee, Alabama, and more. Geno ultimately chose to attend West Virginia University, a decision that would change the course of his life. When Geno arrived on campus, it seemed like the plan was for him to redshirt and sit behind senior quarterback Jarrett Brown, but that's not what happened. The thing is, he didn't win the starting role either. He made an appearance in 5 games, 1 game over the limit of eligibility to redshirt. And it wasn't because of injuries or anything. Geno was put in at the end of games that they were either up or down a bunch. And because of that, a whole year of Geno's eligibility was gone. It was an absolute blunder from the West Virginia coaching staff. So Smith needed to improve his game fast if he wanted to get drafted in the future. And it turns out he did just that. His college career at West Virginia was nothing short of remarkable. Geno entered the spotlight as the starting quarterback in 2010. Right from the jump, he showcased his immense talent and leadership abilities. During his first year as a starter, he threw for the second highest single-season passing yards and touchdowns in West Virginia history and led the Mountaineers to a 9-4 record. He didn't slow down his junior year either. He set plenty of school passing records with 4,385 yards and 31 touchdowns as he led the Mountaineers to a 10-win season. Smith entered his senior season in 2012 with high expectations, and he did not disappoint. He threw for 4,205 yards and a career-high 42 touchdowns, finishing the year as one of the top quarterbacks in the country. His highlight game came in an offensive shootout against Baylor, where he passed for an astounding 656 yards and 8 touchdowns, one of the greatest single-game performances in college football history. However, the defense struggled that year, and Geno had a rough last couple games, as the Mountaineers finished with just a 7-6 record. By the end of his college career, Smith was considered one of the most polished quarterbacks in college football. He had a high football IQ, an accurate deep ball, and the ability to lead explosive offensive drives. Heading into the 2013 NFL Draft, Geno Smith was widely projected as the top quarterback and a first-round pick in a class that wasn't considered very strong. Scouts and analysts alike had voiced concerns about the overall quality of the 2013 quarterback class, labeling it as one of the weakest in recent memory. Geno was regarded as the best available option in a pool that included players like E.J. Manuel, Mike Glennon, and Matt Barkley, none of whom were viewed as surefire NFL stars. Draft day was looking like it was going to be an exciting day for Geno, as the first round fell right on his mom's birthday. It seemed like destiny. He was about to give his mom the best birthday present ever by being selected in the first round of the NFL Draft. In the days leading up to the draft, several NFL teams expressed interest in Smith, including the Kansas City Chiefs, who held the #1 overall pick, the Jaguars, who had the #2 pick, the Raiders with #3, and the Eagles, Bills, and Jets, who had the 4th, 8th, 9th, and 13th overall picks. But then the draft came, and Geno watched pick after pick while his phone remained silent. The first round only saw one quarterback selected, E.J. Manuel, surprisingly taken by the Bills with the 16th overall pick. Geno, expected by many to go before Manuel, was left waiting and watching as his dream of becoming a first-round selection slipped away. By the time the first round concluded, he still hadn't heard his name called. So why did this shocking draft day slide happen? Well, several league executives said that Geno didn't handle the draft process in a professional manner, and analysts pointed to his late season decline as a senior, which exposed his flaws. The disappointment weighed heavily on Geno. Reporters captured images of Smith looking frustrated and disheartened, and many wondered about what this snub would do to his confidence later down the road. The following day, Geno would find himself drafted with the 39th overall pick by the New York Jets, who had planned to have him sit and learn behind Mark Sanchez. However, fate had other plans. Also guys, I know we're talking about an offensive player right now, but defense is just as important. Which brings me to today's video sponsor, DuckDuckGo, known for offering great online defense. And I'm excited to tell you about their new play, Privacy Pro, that helps protect your info from hackers, scammers, and privacy-invasive companies. DuckDuckGo is a brand I trust because their browser and search engine is already used by millions. DuckDuckGo's Privacy Pro subscription includes DuckDuckGo VPN, which is easy to set up in just one click. It secures your Wi-Fi connection anytime, anywhere, on your entire device on up to 5 devices at once, and hides your device location and IP address from the sites you visit so you can browse, game, shop, or whatever you do online with an extra layer of protection. Also, try searching for yourself online, and you'll probably find your name, address, email. This is creepy. On desktop devices, Privacy Pro helps to find and remove that info from data broker and people search websites, taking steps to keep it removed. Privacy Pro also provides identity theft restoration, a service to help you restore your identity if it gets stolen. It offers 24/7 assistance, with most calls answered in less than 30 seconds. Try free for 7 days at duckduckgo.com/shegot or click the link in the description. Then pay $9.99 a month or $99.99 a year. In week 3 of the preseason, Sanchez's shoulder gave out, ending his entire year, which meant that it was Geno's time to step up. During the season opener, Geno completed 24 of 38 passes for 256 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. With only a few seconds left in the fourth quarter, he was hit out of bounds by Levante David, which drew a late hit penalty, and the Jets went on to score the game-winning field goal in an 18-17 win over the Bucs. In week 3, Geno became the first rookie quarterback in franchise history to throw for over 300 yards. And although he had a few bright spots here and there, Geno's rookie season was not pretty. He finished with 3,046 passing yards, 12 touchdowns, and a horrendous 21 interceptions. But the Jets had faith in their young guy, and they decided he was going to be the QB of the future, or at least the following season. Geno's second season opened with continued turnover issues and inconsistent play, which led to growing frustration from fans, the coaching staff, and the media. Geno missed a team meeting because he went to go see a movie with his friends, saying he had a mix-up in the time, and the Jets went on to lose 31-0 that week. 3 weeks later, Geno had one of the roughest games of his career against the Bills, throwing 3 interceptions in just the first quarter alone, which led to him being benched mid-game. However, one bright moment came in the final week of the season, when he posted a nearly perfect passer rating in a win over the Miami Dolphins. The Jets ultimately finished the season with a disappointing 4-12 record, and their offensive struggles were a major reason why. For the 2015 season, the Jets decided to bring in a veteran quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Initially, the plan was for Geno to compete for the starting job, but a little incident changed that real quick. Geno told teammate Ike Enemkpali that he would go to his charity event in Texas, but the day he was going to fly out to the event, a close friend of Geno's passed away. So he informed Ike he was no longer coming. The two seemed to be on good terms, and Geno said he would pay him back for the non-refundable plane ticket, but that payment never came. And when the two crossed paths in the locker room, a heated exchange quickly escalated. Geno was then punched in the jaw. The hit was so severe, it fractured his jaw in 2 places, sidelining him for over 6 weeks, all over just a $600 plane ticket. Veteran Ryan Fitzpatrick took over the starting job in Geno's absence and never looked back. Even when Geno was healthy, he was just a backup. Following that season, Fitzpatrick resigned with the Jets, so Geno continued to remain in the backup role. But in week 6, Geno got his chance as Fitzpatrick was benched for poor performance. Smith finished the game completing 4 of 6 passes for 31 yards and an interception, which was apparently good enough for him to be named the starter the following week. In a week 7 matchup with the Ravens, Geno was playing well until he suffered a torn ACL, which tragically ended his season. Following that 2016 season, the Jets opted not to re-sign Smith, and as a result, he signed a 1-year deal with the New York Giants, moving his home field from MetLife Stadium to MetLife Stadium. Going to the Giants meant Geno was no longer the franchise quarterback or a hopeful starter. Instead, he stepped into a backup role behind 2-time Super Bowl champion Eli Manning. In 2017, the Giants' season quickly spiraled into a nightmare. Their record plummeted to 2-9, and the coaching staff made the bold decision to end Manning's 210-game starting streak and turn to Geno for a fresh start. The choice was highly controversial, especially among fans who saw Eli as a team icon. Smith's time as New York's QB1 didn't go well. In the one game Geno started, the Giants lost 24-17, and he was demoted back to the bench. In 2018, Geno signed with the Los Angeles Chargers, this time stepping in as the backup to Phillip Rivers. At this point in time, Geno was basically a forgotten quarterback, a solid backup choice for teams at best. But behind the scenes, Geno was continuing to learn from some of the league's best veterans, awaiting his moment in the future. And that moment would come with the next team he signed with, the Seattle Seahawks. But it didn't come immediately. Geno initially was the backup behind franchise quarterback Russell Wilson. He went through the 2019 and 2020 season with only an appearance in one game, but got some significant playing time in 2021 when Russell Wilson injured his middle finger in Week 5. Even though the Seahawks went 1-2 in Geno's starts, he looked promising. He threw for 702 yards and 5 touchdowns to only 1 interception. After the season ended, Russell Wilson was involved in a blockbuster trade with the Denver Broncos, which is now looking like one of the biggest fleeces of all time, but that's a video for another day. Going into the 2022 draft, many expected the Seahawks to draft a quarterback. Sure, it was a very weak QB class, but the Hawks were expected to draft either Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis. When they were on the clock with the 9th overall selection, Seattle had their pick of any quarterback in the class. But instead, they drafted offensive tackle Charles Cross, showing that they had faith in Geno. Many analysts and fans doubted that Smith could rise to the occasion. Some even expected the Seahawks to have the worst record in the league. Vegas had their win total at just 5.5 games. But Geno crushed expectations. After being named the starter over former Denver quarterback Drew Lock, he entered the season with something to prove. 8 years after his last season opener as a starter, Geno found himself matched up in Week 1 against none other than Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. Geno completed 23 of 28 passes for 195 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Seahawks took down the Broncos 17-16 in a stunning upset. Throughout the season, Geno continued to silence the critics, showing he wasn't just a backup, but a legitimate starter. From the first game of the season, he was dialed in, demonstrating improved accuracy, better decision-making, and a surprising command of the offense. He threw for over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns with a league-leading completion rate of 69.8%. all while only throwing 11 interceptions. Geno's stellar performance in 2022 earned him Comeback Player of the Year honors and a Pro Bowl appearance. He led the Seahawks to the playoffs too, solidifying his reputation as a true starter in this league. Following this incredible season, Geno got his payday, signing a 3-year, $75 million contract extension. In 2023, the QB truly cemented himself as the Seahawks leader. Though the season had its challenges with injuries and a very poor offensive line, Geno persevered, even when the spotlight was brighter and expectations were higher. Seattle finished the season with a 9-8 record, narrowly missing the playoffs, but Geno earned his second Pro Bowl appearance. Entering the 2024 season, the Seahawks were yet again considered a legit playoff contender. They started the year an impressive 3-0, looking like a force, but the next 3 weeks they would be playing a Monday night game, Sunday night game, and then a Thursday night game. 3 games in 11 days, starting with the Lions and ending with the 49ers. A brutal stretch. And the scoreboard reflected it. They lost all 3 games and suffered some significant injuries. However, they bounced back in Week 7 with a win before dropping their next 2 games to put them under 500. With their season on the line in Week 11 versus their division rival the 49ers, who they had lost 6 straight games to, by the way, Geno stepped up. With just over 2 minutes left down a score, Geno made big throw after big throw to get the Seahawks into the red zone. Then, with just 18 seconds on the clock and no timeouts, Smith scrambled 13 yards for the game-winning score. The win moved Seattle into a second-place tie in the NFC West, which means their playoff hopes are still very much alive. Sam Darnold is another Jets quarterback who we all thought was a bust, but is now playing the best football of his career away from New York. If you want to know what happened with him and how the Jets screwed up, check out this video up here.